Good morning and welcome back to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. Before we get started today, let's just settle in, take a few seconds to take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it, feel your lungs fill up. Imagine all that oxygen coursing through your body, and then exhale and release any tension in your neck and your shoulders and your back. And let's take another deep breath in. Hold it. And as you release that breath, just relax. And bring yourselves here, present right now. Let's put our palms gently together and softly rub your fingers against your palms. Feel the tingling in your fingertips. Feel the tingling in your palms. And welcome. Let's bring ourselves to being present to our bodies and right here, right now. Good morning, Julie Kiss from New York. Welcome. So glad to have you here today. Today's topic is an expansion of something that I've already spoken about. Um, I've been doing meditations from um, Joe Dispenza. If you haven't checked out Joe Dispenza, check out Joe Dispenza. He's got a bunch of books. One is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Another one is called Becoming Supernatural. And another one is called You Are the Placebo. And what he's all about is tapping into our unlimited capabilities. And one of the things that he says is that we are gods in the flesh. In other words, we have unlimited creative potential. And I'm this is my area of absolute um, passion. Is what is the nature of consciousness and being, and he addresses that and has been doing a lot of research with all the trainings that he's doing, where he gets brainwave functions and heart patterns and all kinds of other wonderful, wonderful information that is connected with altered states of consciousness and expansion of awareness. So, good morning, Robert Dosa, and good morning, Enlightened World Network. So, that's Sue and Dido. Thank you guys so much for being here. Anyway, I've been doing these Joe Dispenza meditations, and in one of his meditations, he asks questions, and those questions elicit a response that we get to meditate on. And one of the questions is, what would it feel like or be like to have all your needs met? And this led me to a revelation, which was the topic of another one of these conversations, which was that I recognized I had an identity of suffering, and that suffering can't coexist with sufficiency or with having all your needs met. So I've been thinking more about what it means to have all your needs met and how I was holding that. And I recognized that even the way I was holding the notion of having all my needs met was coming from a place of lack. Because as I was thinking about it, I was thinking about it in the context of having enough food to eat, having enough money to buy the things I needed, having a roof over my head, the fundamental needs, right? Food, shelter, and health, which is also a great thing. And then I started thinking a bit more broadly to, well, what about the need for passion and purpose? And what about the need for creative expression? And what about the need for expanding into the fullest expression of myself? And the idea that we can go beyond the basics, that we really do have a need in our lives to come into full expression. And what would that look like? And so I want to discuss that with you today. So Scarlett Peterson is here from London. Welcome. This is great. So let's look at what our needs are to thrive, not just survive. And it's so interesting to me that coming from an attitude of abundance and sufficiency, I was limiting my perception about what what my need, these needs that I want to have met are. And I think instead of focusing on a need to survive, what about a need to thrive? And also defining this thrival on not on material things so much as on an experience of richness and abundance and joy and enlivenment in life. So today, I just want to invite you to look at what are the needs that you have that, if they were met, your life would be so completely enriched. Not just surviving, not just having your fundamental, basic, most basic needs, but to elevate what our experiences of ourselves as human beings, to include our potential, to include our possibility, and that one of our fundamental needs is to have a full expression of that possibility and capability. And so the need to love fully, the need to enjoy and connect with nature and other people, and the need to receive and express love, and the need to uh, personal self expression and creativity. And what other kinds of needs do we have in the world? The need to discover and explore new things, the need to expand our awareness, to expand our experience, to relish our experience, to be connected, to be experiencing a sense of inner freedom and joy. And I know I said passion, but for sure, passion for living, passion uh, for evolution. And so I really, I'm curious to know if you guys want to add some things into the chat. I'm really curious to know what kinds of needs you've defined for yourself, because I think we I I'll speak for myself. I have tended to limit my scope around what's possible, and without even realizing it, without even realizing that I imposed certain constraints on my imaginings, even though I tend to think outside the box and challenge notions of what's possible to a degree that most people, well, that many people have thought I'm nuts. But by challenging our notions of what's possible, we get to create the impossible, because we do get to create it. And we do get to create what I consider magic. Magic being something that defies our current explanation. But I I know that I have a need for adventure, whether it's intellectual adventure or actual adventure. And what other kinds of needs do we have? Needs to experience new things, needs uh, to find new ways to expand our horizons, and to, I said this too, be fully expressed in the world. But what does that mean? What does it mean to be fully expressed? What does it mean to move toward and fulfill our potential? Need to contribute, need to connect on all different levels. Robert says, we are limitless beings. What the mind can conceive, we can achieve. And thank you, Robert. Absolutely. I started out talking today about the Joe Dispenza meditations. And that is really what he's up to, is supporting people and providing context for people to connect with our unlimited self. And what's so amazing is that the world that we create is a function of the projection of our beliefs, and most often a projection of our experience of our limitations. So we believe that we are bound by the physical. We believe to our bones, culturally, whatever, we believe that we are subject to time and gravity and space. Now, I'm not advocating that you just go and, see if you can fly or anything like that, because those beliefs are so deeply entrenched that we express them in the outer world and we become subject to them. So Robert says, need to learn continuously. Me too. Me too. Learn, expand, and grow. So the it's so fascinating to me, the limitations that we put upon ourselves socially. Like what's possible in terms of the social circle that I have, or what I can achieve in the world as one voice, one person, what kind of difference and impact that I can make. We limit ourselves to say, who am I to think I can blah blah blah, right? And there's so many levels that we can challenge what our beliefs are and what we think our needs are. But as we expand our connection to the broader consciousness, the limits that we have are the limits that we impose upon ourselves. So Robert says, I love Joe Dispenza's story about how he rebuilt his spine with just the power of the mind. So we've all heard stories about people. Thank you, Robert. We've all heard stories about people who have had spontaneous remissions, and I've heard stories about people regrowing their liver, and Joe Dispenza rebuilding his spine, and people disappearing cancer, and the context that enables these miraculous, quote unquote, miraculous kinds of events is an expansion of an understanding of who we are and what's real, what's not real, what our capabilities are. So, in some way, my thought about what we're doing here is we've bought into collectively certain rules of a game that, like including gravity and time and a whole bunch of other things, we've bought into a collective notion of what reality is, and then we live within those rules. It's kind of like if you were in a video game, the video game has certain rules, and maybe it has certain levels that have different rules, and as you accelerate you get to expand the rules. I'm not a gamer, so that might come through in my conversation here, but anyway, I kind of see this as a video game with those rule levels. If you've seen the movie The Matrix, the original one, the first one, there's so much there that I find fascinating and quite true. Maybe not being the human batteries. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's wild. It's so amazing with film. But the notion that we live our lives subject to imposed um, contexts of what's real. Scarlett says, just like the Matrix. Yes. And Robert Dosa says, I want to regrow my teeth. They say it's impossible. Yeah, Robert, if you figure that out, I'm interested. I believe that everything's possible. I believe we can walk on water. I believe we can translocate. I believe we can levitate, and or that there is the capability that we can do that. I haven't tapped it yet, but that's kind of my intention for uh, one of the needs that I have in this life for myself is the need to explore making the impossible possible. So yes, teeth, regrowing teeth. Julie's saying, yeah, that would be an awesome thing to be able to regrow teeth. I imagine that that's possible too. Uh, there's so much available when we let go of our attachment, or even imagine letting go of our attachment to what we believe is real and what we believe is the nature of being. Now, that said, I've been working with a bunch of people. I have a coaching practice and it's full right now, which I'm very excited about. I'm working with extraordinary people that are doing really, really awesome things in the world and have very big visions for making a difference. And one of what I use in my coaching program is a modality that I've developed called Core Connection. And it's miraculous in the results that people get because it's reliant upon their inner symbols, their inner knowing, their inner intelligence to be able to guide the process to unlock all kinds of potentials. And mostly so far, what we've done is we've been working on clearing out stuff. And what I've noticed is that as people are moving more deeply into this work, that they recognize on an conscious and sometimes other than conscious level, they recognize that what they're confronting is letting go of identities that they have recognized themselves to be. So their limited selves, people have said outright, I don't know who I'm going to be on the other side. How am I going to introduce myself? Who am I if I'm not my limitations? Who am I if I'm not someone who suffers? Who am I if I'm not someone who, or if I'm not someone who doesn't love myself? Who am I? Who am I if I'm not my pain? Who am I if I'm not the things that? Who am I if I'm not my history? Who am I if I'm not a victim? And it's so interesting to see and also to have experienced the terror around letting go of these notions just of those simple identities. So if we start looking at letting go of the identity as a physical form, and like that's a whole new level to this conversation about identity and about what's possible. I'm going to check into the comments here. Robert Dosa says, I'm still kind of playing in the matrix with getting in and out of the matrix. And he says he'll share if he achieves this. That's me too. I'm all about getting beyond the matrix. And he says, I'm on a broader matrix. I've left the 3D matrix long time ago and currently somewhere between 9D and 12D. I am that I am. Yes. Well, I think that as a collective, humanity is moving more rapidly toward that kind of expansion where we really get to experience our supernatural capabilities. And we witness that in healing. We witness that in the things that we're able to create in the world with the immediacy that we're able to create in the world. It's pretty fascinating stuff. So this whole conversation started out by uh, talking about what our needs are, what would it look like to have our needs met, and reframing the notion of needs from something fundamental in terms of survival, like I need to survive, and transmuting that whole notion into I need the opportunity to thrive and expand and grow. And what would that look like? So I'm going to wrap up today with the invitation to expand your notion of what it would be to have your needs met, when those needs include the aspects of being that are at the foundation of thriving. So I need joy, I need beauty, I need passion, I need constant learning, I need full expression. Like these are needs to also have met, and to step into the sufficiency and the wholeness that encompasses all those aspects of life and living and possibility. So that's it for today. I want to invite you to check out the remarkable and wonderful programming on Enlightened World Network. All kinds of great, great shows and broadcasts of meditations and insights and connection and community. So I thank you so much for being here, for joining me. I hope you'll come back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Enlightened World Network. And so much love and compassion to you. Thanks so much for joining me. See you tomorrow.